Hi, everybody. I'm Emily Price, the Executive Director of Healthy Birthday, Inc., the nonprofit that created Count the Kicks. And I have a really extraordinary guest today is Coach Kirk Ferentz, the Iowa Hawkeyes. And we just would love to have a conversation. How are you doing today, Coach?
Good, Emily. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you. How are you all doing?
We're doing fine. We're all navigating our way through it, and it's been very interesting to say the least. I'm sure for everybody. It's just a very different lifestyle, and this is a really typically a busy time for us. I think this would be week 6 now coming out of spring break. So typically the last 5 weeks we've been really busy with our team, pretty much every day other than Sunday. But as we all know, it didn't work out that way. So it's been really different, but I think we've all made the adjustment and trying to make the best of it.
How is your team adjusting?
I think they all did pretty well. Probably the younger guys do better than the older guys. One of those deals, especially with this transition into virtual communication, that type of deal. I joke about it, I never heard of Zoom until about 7 weeks ago, and now it's amazing how many times we've used it. Not only heard of it, but used it. So we're trying to stay in touch team-wise that way, and staff-wise the same thing. But it's just very different because what we do is very intimate. Typically, there's a lot of we're in close quarters, we're working together, and pushing hard, that type of thing. And now everybody's just totally spread out, and everybody's kind of on their own programs, and so a lot of more individual type communication and group communication, i.e. smaller groups. And but I think we've done a good job, and that was really when this thing all started to come down and take place. I kind of set a priority list in place as fast as I could. And first and foremost was just communication between everybody, knowing that we couldn't duplicate or replicate what we would have been doing physically, but just trying to make sure everybody was really staying in touch. First and foremost, everybody was safe, they were settled, and then try to get them into a good routine from there. So it's been a challenge, but it's been interesting.
What is your prediction for what the season is going to look like, and when do you think you will have an idea of what that looks like?
That question's a little bit like asking the health experts or politicians 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where are we going? What's it look like down the road? And there were so many vantage points and viewpoints about things. One thing, I remember distinctly the Friday we broke up as the 13th. That's right when everything was starting to come in place. The Big Ten basketball tournament had been canceled the day before. And one of the last things I told our team that day was I said, whatever we think we know today, we probably will look at it a lot differently tomorrow. So that's certainly been the case, especially in the early periods. But I think right now, as it pertains to college football, people have made preparations for the possibility of a shortened season, a delayed season, possibly even delaying it till the spring. So there's probably 100 different scenarios up on the board, but I tend to be an optimist, and I'm really cautiously optimistic we'll still be able to play in the fall. If they have to push it back a little bit, so be it. Hopefully fans and spectators will be able to be there, but that may not be a possibility. So I think we just have to keep an open mind right now and just try to plan accordingly.
Have you thought about what it would be like playing in a stadium with no fans as an option? That just seems so hard to wrap our minds around, doesn't it?
It really does, and be very sterile. And this probably the only analogy I could give you, when we practice spring ball is a good example. We typically do one public scrimmage. We pick a Saturday and have a public scrimmage. It's the same thing in the preseason. We'll have a scrimmage or two where we don't have anybody there, and that's just us against us. So, it's always kind of weird when you're in there competing full speed and live, and there's no fan environment. So to think about that, competing against an opponent from another school without any fans, it really is kind of weird. And, but if that's what has to happen next year, we'll find a way. And it's like everything, we're all making adjustments. We're all doing some things we're not used to doing. And it does feel a little bit strange. It feels a little bit different, but you just, try to realize that hopefully it's a temporary adjustment that we're making. And if it's the best case scenario, then you make the best of it.
There was a little bit of a respite last week when everybody got to watch the NFL draft on TV. It was sort of the first sporting event we've ever, we've been able to participate in over the last few weeks. And it must have been so exciting to see Tristan Wirfs go to Tampa Bay, the 13th pick. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it really was. And, it's a little bit like, senior day, the last home game and after the last game in our bowl game, typically. Anytime, you have those last games, it's kind of bittersweet because, you think about, well, hey, this is the end of it with this player. But it's also the opening of a new chapter for players. And the draft is a little bit like that. You look at a player up there being drafted and you're thinking, oh, we're not going to see him again, not in our locker room, at least not in, practicing in competition. But so that part's always a little bit of an adjustment. But at the same time, you're really happy for him. And every guy that comes to our program, I think they all have the dream of maybe playing in the NFL. It's our job to make sure, A, they understand it's a short window if they're fortunate enough to make it there. And then B, it takes a lot of hard work to even get that opportunity, let alone make a team. But, all that being said, it's really neat when a player has that realization. And we had 5 guys drafted over the weekend, Tristan being the highest pick, and that's a thrill. And then we had 3 other guys signed as free agents. So at least 8 of our guys will be in camps next year, and they'll get to, at least keep their dream alive for a little bit longer. Yeah, and that's always fun. Circling back to Tristan, and Tristan's a good illustration of most of the stories. You just think about his story, and every player's got a story. His mom did an unbelievable job raising Tristan and his younger sister. So, it was neat to see the whole family, I think, just to take part of it, to really relish in a really special moment. And I'm just happy for all of them. It's just a great thing. And a little personal commentary, I actually like the draft better this year because we're a little bit more organic, a little bit more genuine. Everybody was in their homes, and they were just there with their families. They weren't in Las Vegas or wherever celebrating in a pretty artificial, environment. So I wish they'd do the draft that way every year. It was a little bit better. Even the GM and the head coaches that were selecting were in their homes. That was kind of cool.
I thought so too. Very, very cool. And now Tristan is on with maybe one of the hardest jobs in the NFL, was protecting Tom Brady. And you had a huge hand in getting him there. That's so cool.
Oh, there'll be a little scrutiny for sure now, because that is special cargo back there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Not only the greatest player, but probably the oldest player. So, they want to keep him on two feet at all times. So, but Tristan will be up for the challenge. I think it's a great opportunity. And it's kind of a small world. It's funny, Tom Moore, who played here in the 50s, Tom Moore's a longtime NFL coach. He's still coaching right now. He's with Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. So he's an 80-year-old coach, NFL coach, Iowa guy. He's down there. And then obviously Anthony Nelson from Des Moines, from Johnson technically, is also there. Anthony will be in his second year next year. So you have a little Iowa connection right there. That's kind of neat.
And the Hawkeyes have had a lot of success on that field at Raymond James as well.
They really have. So, yeah, it will be familiar confines for Tristan. And, in fact, last time he played there, he played against the number 1 draft pick, kid that's playing with Washington right now. So, he's been there and played against good competition for sure.
We'll be rooting for him. Some people who are watching this right now might be thinking to themselves, what is the connection between Coach Ferentz and Count the Kicks? And so I would love to tell people something that they may not know already, which is that Coach Ferentz is responsible for helping save the very first baby that Count the Kicks ever helped save. And that was in 2007. Coach, you recorded a radio PSA, and the tagline of it was "Every kick counts." And a mom in Iowa heard that PSA and she knew about kick counting, and she ended up saving her son Danny in 2007. They live in South Dakota, and Danny is walking this earth today because of that PSA and the education of Count the Kicks. And so we have had a 13-year relationship with Coach and have been so grateful for your advocacy over the years and all that you have done to help further our mission to save babies and get that message out there. And not only is Danny walking this earth today, but lots of babies are walking and children are walking this earth today because of the start that you gave us and the message that you started with gave us the trajectory and the hope and the passion that we felt like we could keep going. And so we are certainly grateful. And you even have a saved story in your family. You have a granddaughter because you have a daughter-in-law who was empowered to speak up when she noticed a change. And so we'd love to know how your granddaughter is doing, and just wanted to say thank you as well.
First of all, our role in this whole thing is pretty small, but it's been great to have that association. Yeah, and the real credit goes to you and the whole organization. Just it's a tremendous initiative, and it's already made a big impact. So not only in Iowa but nationally. So I think it's just fantastic. Mary and I are thrilled to be associated with that. And then beyond that, we're the parents of 5 kids that we're all healthy. We really went through, if there is such a thing as a routine pregnancy and labor, it's easy for me to say, right? But anyway, we were very fortunate in that regard. Now we have 9 grandkids. But yeah, the grandchild you referred to is Coco. And like I said, we have 9 grandkids. And if there's a Spitfire in the group, it's Coco. She's a 2.5-year-old that's unbelievably spirited. She just, everybody, when they see her coming, boy, everybody lights up. And then probably runs for cover too, because she's a handful. So yeah, no, we're very, very, very fortunate. We got 9 great grandkids, and Coco's leading the charge. She's doing super.
That's so awesome to hear. Thank you so much, Coach, for your time today. Please give our best to Mary and to everyone else. And we're just deeply grateful for your time, and we wish you all the best as the season approaches, and we'll be rooting for all of you.
Well, I will do that, and it's kind of unusual for me to do an interview in a very casual clinic. I'm sitting at the counter in the kitchen where I do a lot of my work, actually, usually not on Zoom, but a lot of my work. And Mary's actually in the background. She's behaving. She's being quiet right now. So we're here together, and we send everybody our best.
Thank you so much. Hello to Mary, and thank you again for your time.
Hello, Emily.
Thanks, Emily. I'll get it out of the way. You want to say it again, Mary?
Hello, Emily.
Hi, Mary. Again.
I think she's on the way.
Oh.
No, she's not. Okay, so anyway.
Hello, there she is.
There you go.
There she is. How are you?
Good, good. I'll get out of the picture.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks,
great to
Emily.
see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.